push that dial. Get ready to go someplace cool and meet the people that can help you get there. The Moving On and Headin Out Show with your host, Tony Pfau. Hey there. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the first episode of Moving Out and Headin On. So this show here is kind of fitting a little need about trying to look at help people that are like living in higher price markets like Denver and looking for areas to move to where you can get something for a little cheaper that's got other features to it, so you could cash out in one market and go and pay, or at least be able to put a huge down payment on something and get out of the big city. So this in this episode, we are going to Denison, Texas. Now, hold on, because I'm going to tell you where that is in a second. But we're going to bring in our all-star, Ann Schabacher, who is a broker who was here in Colorado, moved to Denison, Texas, and she is going to give us a little bit of insight. Hi, Ann. How are you doing?
Hi, Tony. How are you? Thank you for having me.
And welcome to, you'll have to excuse me here. Welcome to Moving On and Headin Out, Headin to Texas. So first question right out the gate. Where the heck is Denison, Texas?
We are about an hour north of Dallas, right up on the Oklahoma border.
I see.
Tiny little town, or what used to be a tiny little town that is growing, but still tiny and still very hometown feel. Yeah.
Well, and as you can see, I got the map up for everybody. It looks like it's like an 11-hour drive from Denver.
Roughly,
and for our audience here, we're going to go take a little peek at the area and stuff in a second. But Ann, you were in Colorado. And all of a sudden you said, I'm going to head to Texas. And that was a few years back. Tell us what you liked about it at first. And we'll get into more details and look at some comparisons in a second. But in a general thing, what was like, your thoughts?
We were in Colorado for about 10 years. Loved it. Still miss it. Miss the mountains. But it was time for a change, and we wanted something a little bit smaller, a little more hometown feel. We knew some people that had moved to Sherman, Texas, which is our next town over, 5 minutes away. And so we came down to visit, liked the area, went home, sold our house in Colorado, and moved to Denison. That was about 4 years ago. And we still love it. It's a great little area. Folks are great. The neighbors are awesome. Housing prices are still reasonable.
Yeah, well, and we'll take a look at that here in a second.
Yep.
And I tell you were kind of ahead of the game because, people are starting to see the reports. Man, interstate move people are on the move, and they're moving for a whole bunch of different reasons. A lot of people are leaving the city. I know in Colorado, actually 3 or 4 years ago, I said, the city's, got these values, but, at the time you could still find things in rural Colorado. I was like, well, what are the people retiring going to do? It's like, you could move to Flagler or Walsenburg. Well, it's all risen up. So this is sort of for our audience here. I was like, well, I started thinking the same thing. And it's like, you can go look at the property things throughout the country, but you don't get a feel for stuff. And I said, man, we need like a Charles Kuralt for, where can I move to? And so hence moving out and heading on.
I think it's perfect.
I just, it just came up. But for our peeps watching, thanks for watching. Any of this stuff that, buying, selling, moving, at some point you may need to have financing involved. And Ann and I and my broker and our financing whiz, Pam Wandry, had done market overviews and watching what was going on during COVID. And Pam can't be here with us today in person, but she's got, I'm going to call it the mortgage. I was calling it the mortgage minute, but it's like the mortgage 90, right? So the mortgage 90 seconds. So she's going to join us here via pre-recorded thing. And let's go see what Pam has to say about all of this stuff.
Hi, everyone. Sorry I couldn't be with you in person. I just wanted to give you a quick mortgage market update and then some information about moving interstate from one state to another. Right now, as you know, rates have been on a steady upward climb since the beginning of the year. Overall, since last December, the end of December, it's been about 1.25% higher. We are currently at 4.42% with 0.8 in fees. That's Freddie Mac's average 30-year fixed mortgage rate that they provided this week. The Fed did actually implement their first rate hike this last month, and they intend to do 5 to 6 more over the year to help tamp down inflation, which is the biggest driver of the rates increasing right now. If you're thinking of moving to another state, it's really important to get pre-qualified first. Talk to a local lender. Having a local lender is super beneficial just because they are flexible and available and they know the local area and have contacts that are able to help you have a smooth process. And then lastly, to be aware of things like taxes and insurance and what those local taxes are of where you're moving to, because they probably are different from where you are moving to. And you don't want to be surprised if they're higher and things like that. And that's another thing that a local lender will be able to help you be aware of and look at the numbers. Thanks again, you guys, for having me on, and hope to see you again soon.
Thank you, Pam, even though you can't be here. We recorded that last Friday, so she could be with us today in video, I guess, in spirit, whatever. So thank you, Pam. Yeah, so, but with, so Ann, even if the rates are kind of going up, but if somebody's leaving our market where they've got $350,000 in cash, is that going to be a big deal breaker? I mean,
Not at all. At 350 to 400 in cash, there is even a likelihood you could pay cash for a house here.
Yeah. Okay.
And then
and for our audience, we're going to look at a couple of examples here in a second. But first, since in the sort of that Charles Kuralt on the road thing, and let's take a look at. I just want you to tell us a little bit about the area. We've got some little wallpaper going on in the background here, so let me get to our little handy video loop. So, Ann, tell us what's cool about Denison and Sherman area. It's Grayson County, isn't it?
We are in Grayson County. Being the proximity to Dallas is great because you have all of that, the access to that. We have all the regular shopping, Walmart, Target, Home Depot, you name it, Kohl's, those kinds of things. But we do still kind of really have that small town feel. Denison itself has a population of about 27,000, and that's spread over quite a few square miles. I mean, there's a lot of land available, homes with land. We live in a subdivision where our next door neighbors are, I don't know, a good 30 feet away. They're not, 5 feet away, things like that. We have parks, we have trails, we have lakes. We have several lakes within Denison. Then we have Lake Texoma, which is the 4th largest lake in Texas. And It's a nice warm water lake. So you can definitely swim, the whole thing, sandy beaches, you name it.
Swimming, boating, water skiing.
Water skiing. That picture right there is the marina where you can rent a dock your boat. It can be there all year long. People, even on the docks, just go and hang out. Even on the docks, they don't even go out on the lake.
Yeah, well, like in Colorado, like if you're in Denver, they're like, yeah, you're close to skiing. Well, that's still an hour away. How close are we to the lakes?
Excuse me. Lake Texoma is from my house about a 5 to 6 minute drive.
Yeah. Okay. And
it's really not that far from the star you're looking at right there. That's the south side of Denison. That's maybe a 10-minute drive. It's very, very close.
Right. And then, and it looks like Sherman's about the same distance from Denison. You said, I think you had mentioned while we were in our green room, Sherman has a lot more of the shopping and stuff going on. And Sherman
has places like Kohl's, Ulta Beauty, Academy Sports, which is like a Dick's Sporting Goods. It has Walmart. We have 3 Walmarts actually between Sherman and Denison.
Right.
We've got all the shopping, dining, Target, Bed Bath and Beyond, you name
All
it.
the stuff. Now, is there an airport in Sherman, or where's the closest international airport to you guys?
International airport would be DFW or Dallas Love Field.
Right.
So they would both be in Dallas. They're about an hour away.
About an hour. So yeah, so
hour.
it's like in Colorado terms, it's like going to Colorado Springs. You know, so if
Yes.
you're going to take your vacation, right? No, that's cool. And I'm assuming there's adequate hospitals and stuff. I mean, it's not like you're going into the 1-lane town, right?
We have Texoma Medical Center, which is a very nice hospital here. It's supposed to be, I believe it's cardiac specialties, and it's 5 minutes from my house.
Yeah, good.
I do want to say we do have a lot of retirees here that move for the medical.
Yeah, well, no, that's well, and I would imagine just in terms of not just Denison, but throughout the country, if they're moving from a higher price market, hence the reason for this show, and finding a lower price market, right? Well, having medical facilities will be kind of part of that decision, decision making thing. The idea here is that. You know, I mean, and I'm talking to our Denver listeners. I mean, y'all have seen what has happened to values around here. It's just crazy, and not only that, we also have people moving here. For those of us who grew up here, if you were to go back, 70 years or 40 years on I-25 and then try to go up I-25 to downtown now, you'd be like, I've moved anyway. But just as an example, I've got a couple of examples we want to show you guys. So in Denver, for example, like a little starter home, what we call a single family, where's my pictures? Oh, here we go. So you're $600,000, and I got one here that hang on a second, it will come up here in a second. Where's my gallery? Bear with me, everybody. So I'm gonna start this and turn that off. So this is the inside of what sold for $590,000 in March of 22. So it wasn't updated. It was like grandma's house. It hadn't been touched. So starter home, 600,000, call it, that people are having to bid over, right? And so I'm like, well, shoot, what would something like that, a similar style home be down in Denison, Sherman area? Now, I've asked the question, but guess what? Ann has the answer. And so let's take a look at that. So that's my pitch. And so here's what we came up with.
Yes, this one's listed for $295,000. Very similar, similar shape to the one in Centennial. But as you can see, half the price.
So yeah, half the price, and lot size seems to be the same. Square footage appears to be the same, but $295. So if you were the one selling that, right, you're selling $650 up here, and then you go down there and you got your, let's say you bought it back in the day and and you've got some equity built up. I mean, paying cash is in reach, or even having a low mortgage, So, I mean, a higher interest rate on $100,000 is a lot different than higher interest rate on a $560,000 mortgage. So here's another example. Tell us about that.
That's another, and I kind of call that a starter home. It's a little more entry level, but this one's listed for $275, and I believe this one's 1,900 square feet, which is. And by the way, Tony, we don't have basements here.
Right, because it's like they got to pound through the shale or the limestone.
Yes.
So, but that's even better because it's like, what is it, 1,900? 1,900 square feet on the main level, right? No stairs, no, yeah,
No
right.
stairs, single
Right.
level. And generally, a lot of the homes here have fairly large lots
Right,
for the
I
most
see. And trees, it looks like. I mean, I love that because,
We
like,
have a lot of trees. We're very,
yeah.
very green here.
So if we're looking up, what can we get for, like, I don't know, if you're in the mid threes or four, we got an example of that.
Yes.
So what do we got here?
This one
2,800
is
square
actually
feet.
a home that's 3 doors up from me.
Oh, right
And
on.
it is, yes. So this one is in Denison. It's very close to my house. It's about, I think this one's about 2,800 square feet, and it has
Wow.
been remodeled.
Wow.
And
Which,
it's on a very large lot. I believe it's at least a third of an acre. And we
yeah,
live in a very nice area of Denison. And this one is listed at 389. I know this one went over because
yeah,
this was an awesome home.
yeah.
But when you think over in Denver and you think over in Denison, when I mean over list,
Right.
it's not the same. It's not the
Right.
same.
Right.
I suspect this one sold about 400, maybe 410. We're
Yeah.
not talking about 50, 60, $80,000 over.
Right, and for our audience, we don't none of us can know till it actually closes, but
Correct.
yeah, so I mean that thing up here would be in the sixes easy if it was like in Old Littleton or something like that. I mean 2,800 square feet. So we pulled another example. So people are like, well, do you have things that are like in Highlands Ranch?
Yes.
Yeah,
This is a new home. It's only 3 years old. And it sits right by Texoma Health Foundation Park, which has baseball field, soccer field, splash pad, playground, walking trail. It's really kind of got a little bit of everything
Yeah.
for everyone. And there
And it's
are
like
some new home communities in there.
So kind of more similar to what up here would be like Highlands Ranch or
Yes.
some of these newer communities up north. And then,
Yes.
yeah, and then we pulled another. I was like, wow, this looks like a nice little country ranch in here, and I looked at the price. I was like, $649. Oh my God, that would be, and it was like 2,700 square feet, and it looks like you can walk to the lakes. I mean, there's some other things going on for that.
That
But,
one's going to be close to the lake and probably no proximity to neighbors, really, really
Right.
close by. If you want more
Yeah.
seclusion,
There you go.
that's what you're going to get.
Yeah, right. Well, and
Yeah.
that's as you get closer to lakes, right? The price goes
Price
up. But
goes up a little bit, yes,
but
it
the
does.
short takeaway is, you're selling a townhome up here for $600,000 that you bought 5-6 years ago. You're probably you've got enough to go down there and play ball. Now, in just the relocation process alone, not everybody, and we'll get to some options on being able to go buy and before you sell and stuff. I'll show you that. But for some people, they sell and then I've had people like get into a motorhome and they go drive around the country to figure out where they're going to be. I'm assuming there's KOA campgrounds or something down there. But is there like temporary, are there places that they can rent? It's like, oh, let's go get settled for a few months. Tell us a little bit about what's going on with that.
We have a couple options. We do have quite a few of Airbnbs, VRBOs, things like that. We also have a local apartment building that we'll rent on a short-term basis.
Yeah.
So that has come in handy for a lot of people that are moving interstate.
Right. Well, and they probably want to make a trip down there. There are some things that are coming online for the people who are watching. They may not be in a position to go buy their new place till they've sold their existing place. There are some options. One of them is called Home Swap, and it's from knock.com. I'm knock certified and will be, but it gives a seller, if they're property and they qualify, ability to go get their new home purchased, and then 6 months to pay off their other one or get the other one sold and only have one mortgage payment. Either Ann or I can give you more details on this, but the point I wanted to bring up was that Denison and Sherman area are part of the cities that knock serves. And so so there's our little thing there, and there's other things, Ian. I mean, besides knock, what do you see people doing, or what do you kind of suggest?
We have been successful with doing contingent offers if someone has a home to sell. So
Right.
we've been successful doing that. Depending on
Which
what
you can't
area
even
you
do
want.
up here. I mean, forget about it.
Yeah, every market's a little bit different. The closer you get to Dallas and Fort Worth, the harder that is, just because
Right.
of the amount of cash offers going on in that area. But again, that's more urban. And if you're looking more of the suburban feel, then you want to be looking Sherman, Denison.
Yeah.
In that area, we can still pull that off, basically.
So Ann, we're getting ready to wrap up here, but let's say somebody pops out, and if you're watching, you can reach out to me if you're thinking about selling something here in Colorado, or if you're already loose and you want to get connected with Ann, but feel free to reach out to Ann, or I can, set up a time. But let's say I get one of my peeps that ring me up and I want to tell them about Ann, besides being superstar on my show and everything else. What is your kind of shtick, your slogan, your thing? What do you want your people to know when you start working with them?
We know the market. I've been in real estate and in lending, because I have a lending background for the last 21 years. I do have a partner down here. We both did the interstate move and both moved to Texas. He came
Right.
from Florida. I came from Colorado.
Right.
And so we're very versed in sort of the challenges that can bring, and some of the things that we really have to figure out how to work with.
Yeah.
We know our local market. We work everywhere from DFW up to the Oklahoma border, and DFW being Dallas, Fort Worth area. We
Right.
also have agent partners that we work with within our company in other cities if you're looking to go further south. So there's really options for everyone.
Yeah.
That we have such a diverse area, from urban to suburban to out in the boondocks. I mean,
Well, and that's
we've
what
got
really surprised me. And for our full disclosure, I'm on Ann's email list because I've been personally looking down there, and I got to tell you, they have being able to get the the market updates and talk to Ann about things, because things come up when you start to think about it. It's been really a good thing. So at any rate, if any of you have any questions, feel free to reach out, comment in the Facebook Live, or reach out with phone numbers or emails, and stay tuned. Don't touch that dial, because we will have more episodes of Moving On and Heading Out. And where we're going next, I don't know yet. But keep your eyeballs open, and I'll be putting some announcements up on Facebook. So thank you so much, Ann. Always a pleasure to see you. Thanks you all for tuning in, and see you again next time.